Hello Internet, it's Tech Guy here with another video, and this video is my top 10 Nintendo predictions for 2015. So, let's get into it. I know I haven't done a video for Nintendo in a very long time, but this was probably the most appropriate video to start doing Nintendo videos again and all that, being the time of year it is and all that. So, just to go over a quick disclaimer of what I want to talk about before I go into this list is the fact that this video is going to be based on what to expect, what I personally want to see, and it's all in one video and ranked based on the likelihood of each of them happening. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10 is Amiibos. So, bring support to older 3DS games is what I really want to see. So, Mario Kart 7 could have something similar to what Mario Kart 8 currently has, in terms of the race suits and all of that, for your Miis and all that, and it would just give more of an incentive and reward for purchasing an Amiibo, because in Australia they're $18 each, and that's an arm and a leg if you're going to purchase all of them. I'd be lucky to get one at most, but I still struggle to see the value of having one, if any at all. Would also provide support from a loyalty perspective of, yes, it's an older 3DS game, but we're still going to give you the respect and all that, so then when we announce new Nintendo hardware and all that, and games that support Amiibo, it will give you more of an incentive to get Amiibos in the first place. Also, bring another lineup of Amiibos of characters beyond the February 2015 lineup, which was only just announced the other day as of time of recording, which was around mid-November, and expand the functionality that they provide for games to make them more worthwhile getting and all that. Like, I'm still struggling to understand how it works in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. It's almost like you're training up a Pokemon and that to get it to level 50, and then when you've done that, that's it. I really don't understand that much about why the Amiibos have to exist and all that. Super Smash Bros. Is going to be really massive for sales and all that, don't get me wrong, but the Amiibo part of it, I'm struggling to understand what they're trying to do with it and all that, and the fact that it's had weak input, like with the Mii characters, it's just got race suit things, that's pretty weak. So if they have like a Metroid one, it should be able to have the actual Metroid character in Mario Kart 8 or something like that. That's the route they should really go down with, and that's going to really encourage a lot of people to purchase all of these for more of an incentive perspective of what they actually do. Number 9 is Nintendo Network ID and more of a continuity perspective. So I know that's a very Apple term and all that, but if you purchase a game on your Wii or your 3DS, you should be able to get exactly the same game if available on the Wii U for free. The ability to use your 3DS as a controller for more games than just Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, maybe they could do it for Mario Kart 8, could be new games coming out like Captain Toad Treasure Trackers, maybe Splatoon if they can integrate it with that, maybe The Legend of Zelda for Wii U or other games like that. There should be ways to integrate the 3DS controller in all of those games, because I'm sure the Wii U's hardware is capable of doing it, because it's able to connect to a 3DS as a controller and all that, so I'm sure that they should be able to find a way to do that. Also, one big omission that I find about the 3DS and all that, and I know it's a portable handheld, is the ability to stream a game from your 3DS handheld console to your Wii U to display it on the TV screen. Similar to what me as a kid used to do, and I'm sure many of you now teenagers, kids and all that, way back then, were doing it with Pokemon Stadium. You used to have the Nintendo 64 controller. There was a game pack thing that you put into the back of it. Then you slot your Game Boy Color game into that. And then if you've got Pokemon Stadium or Pokemon Stadium 2, it would display it on the screen and all that. So maybe they would be able to do something like that, but for the 3DS screen. But I'm not expecting brilliant picture quality, but at least an upscale of the 3DS's top screen. Just the top screen on the TV, that is. Because the top screen of the 3DS is 800 by 240 in 2D mode, that is in terms of pixels on the on the screen. So maybe they could upscale it to 1600 by 480 or something like that on the TV, and that if you've got a 1920 by 1080 screen, it should be able to take up the majority of it, or scale it to fit another size or tweaks and all that. I'm sure they could figure out a way to integrate that with the Wii U, because they're both probably just as powerful for that reason if it's capable of being used as a controller for Super Smash Bros. Have more than 100 friends in your friends list and work universally across the 3DS and the Wii U hardware. Able to access online scoreboards and other stuff as well for both the 3DS and the Wii U systems on both systems. And one thing I keep missing, and I noticed this the other day, is the fact that you can't even buy 3DS games on the Wii U. So if you've got your 3DS and your Wii U connected in the same account, why can't you purchase a 3DS or a Wii U game if you're enticed into it and all that at the time of you looking at it on each other's consoles, to then start downloading it on the opposite console when it's next got an internet connection turned on and all that stuff. But more importantly, the ability to purchase retail games at a slightly discounted price compared to retail, since you don't have a physical copy of the game, because at the moment it's the exact same price to download it online through the Nintendo eShop as it is to get it in a retail store, which would be like $69.95 in Australia. So maybe they can make it about $10 less for the recommended online price. And yes, I made that up. Having the same price is not going to help them sell more hardware, because if you want to entice people to download stuff through the Nintendo eShop, because you've got to buy all of this external storage drives and all that to store it on, you've got to make the games cheaper in the first place to make it cost effective in the long term. I don't see how it's cost effective at all. Number 8 is new 3DS exclusive games. I have no idea what they would bring out for it, but maybe there will be more games like Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which will integrate the C-Stick and all that into their games. And as a side note, also announce a game that no one saw coming. So games like a HD remake of Diddy Kong Racing, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. I've heard rumours there might be Super Mario Sunshine HD remake, but I don't know if that will happen. And Donkey Kong 64, because that's my favourite game of all time. I sure hope they bring something like that back, if it's possible, because of the whole Rare thing and yada yada yada. I won't go into that detail now, but I hope they have more exclusives for the new 3DS console, like what they did for the Game Boy Color, that's not compatible with the original Game Boy or something like that. I hope there's a lot of incentive for that sort of stuff going ahead if they plan to use the 3DS, the updated version of the 3DS rather, called the new 3DS, which is not going to go down well in a few years' time, like the new iPad, because there's the new iPad out now. It would just give you more of an incentive to get the new 3DS system based on time of recording, because it's obviously new now. At number 7, we have E3 2015. So I'm expecting them to do another Nintendo Direct, just like they did in 2013 and 2014, and they will probably never go back to an on-stage demonstration unless they are announcing a new generation of hardware, either handheld or home console, so that is the successors to the new 3DS and the Wii U, if it's the Wii U 2 or something like that. I don't know what they'll do with that. But if they're announcing a new generation of hardware or transitioning to smartphone devices or something like that, they obviously need an on-stage presentation to show all the hype for the consoles and stuff like that, based on what the public saying that. But in a Nintendo Direct, it's more ideal for just releasing new software and announcing new software products coming up and all that. So I'm expecting a Nintendo Direct, and similar to what they did in 2014, but in 2015. Number 6 is GameCube Virtual Console on the Wii U. So I believe Reggie Fils-Aimé, which is the head of Nintendo America, did say that they were considering to bring this out, and they definitely should, because it will put to better use the GameCube Wii U adapter and controllers if you were to get it for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Having a controller that only works with one game, Super Smash Bros. Wii U, as of time of recording and what Nintendo has announced so far, seems like a waste to me, because I've never been a huge Smash Bros fan and all that, but I'll likely get into it more and all that when the Wii U version is out. I've never been a hardcore Smash player, but if you are, I obviously understand why you would get the GameCube controller and all that. But for the casual player, I would be more inclined to say it's not worth it just for one game, just to get a controller and all that. You're paying just as much for the controller and the adapter as you are for the actual game itself. I just don't see the price to gameplay to space it takes up at home ratio and stuff like that. I just don't see the point of it. And if Nintendo can release the GameCube adapter separately for a cheaper price and GameCube games for say $20 US, then shut up and take my money, because that will just infinitely probably double the amount of time I'm on my Wii U because of all the number of games that I could play, because I completely skipped the Nintendo GameCube era because I got a PS2 instead, which was really good at the time and all that, but I went back to the Wii after that, so I completely missed out, you could say, on Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Smash Bros. Melee, which is what everyone says is the definitive one at the moment before the Wii U version is out, Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, and all those other games. I've completely missed that whole generation, so it would be another great way to increase sales for that, considering that wasn't a very popular era for games and all that. If you've got the hardware, you need to get the games on it, so this will give them an opportunity to get more games on it. And obviously in HD resolution and that, if it's possible, but if not, then in their current resolution, but updated for the controls and all that. That's all cool. At number 5, we have Mario Kart 8 Downloadable Content, or DLC for short, Pack 2, which is set to be released in May 2015, and just playing the first downloadable pack that they've released, I am absolutely amazed by it, considering the value for money and all that they give us, considering compared to the GameCube controller and all that. So I'm hoping that they announce at least one more downloadable content pack, or maybe even 2 more, and have them 6 months apart, obviously, like they're doing currently. But one of these could be just the first 2, just like the first 2 Mario Kart 8 DLC packs with 3 characters, 4 carts, and 8 tracks, or they could have another one dedicated to better battle arenas and all that, because that's probably what's hurt the reviews for the game itself. Otherwise everyone would have given it a perfect 10. So they could just bring old ones back from the past, like Big Donut, Block Fort, Double Deck, Skyscraper, all from the Nintendo 64 era, Block Plaza, Delfino Pier from the Wii, Funky Stadium as well from the Wii, and Twilight House from the DS. All are what I would hope to see if they announce another Battle Arena pack for downloadable content. And I'd probably be inclined to get it, even if I play it once or twice. It would just be nice to see something different and HD remakes of all of these older tracks and all that on the Wii U itself. And there's a lot of characters that are currently missing that have already been announced in previous versions, like Funky Kong, Diddy Kong, Birdo, Honey Queen, Wiggler, Laticue, and they could even announce new characters, like they've been doing Zelda for the first pack, Animal Crossing for the second. Why not do something like Star Fox for the third one? Or they could even bring out characters like Pikachu if they really want to go down that route. And there's a lot of tracks that they could bring back from the past to help pad it out a little bit, because they've had 3 new tracks, I believe, in downloadable pack 1. It's 3 or 5, I can't remember which way around it was. But as far as I remember, there's 3 new tracks that are not brought back from the past in downloadable content pack 1. So if they've got to do another 5 remakes of previous tracks, ones that they could bring back is Rainbow Road GameCube. So just to continue how many Rainbow Roads there are in the game, to try and get as many as they can in Mario Kart 8 itself. Coconut Mall, Toad's Factory from the Wii, Woohoo Loop, which I believe that and Shy Guy Baza, if I pronounce it correctly, are both from the 3DS version, but they're also one long track like Mount Wario in Mario Kart 8. So I hope they can do something like that again, or create an entirely new track, maybe a Donkey Kong track or a Star Fox track that's continuous throughout the whole course. So you got 3 segments instead of 3 separate tracks. And yes, Andre from Game Explained, I feel your pain. I want Baby Park back as well. So that's also in one of the tracks that I also want back. So let's move along now. Number 4 is The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. It just needs to be released and a major trailer unveiled at E3 2015. I'm setting my expectations low based off what we've already seen so far, but Eiji Onobu, who is the creator for the Legend of Zelda games and all that currently, he said that the graphics are looking even better than they did during the E3 2014 trailer, so I can only hope they look even better than they do at this, and I would love to see this whole game where it loads all at the start for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then there's substantially less loading times throughout the entire game. That I am really looking forward to, and on top of the graphics and the fact it's a new story and all that stuff. Number 3 is Splatoon. So this is an entirely new IP for Nintendo and all that, which they announced at E3 2014. And they've announced a single-player mode and all that, but they need to unveil more details about that single-player mode because, at least from my perspective, I'm probably going to be playing the majority of the time the single-player mode and hardly ever the multiplayer mode and all that, because hardly anybody I know comes over to play Wii U games and stuff like that. But it's set to be due out to the public before E3 2015, so in the second quarter, I believe, for 2015's calendar year. So hopefully they will have another Nintendo Direct before then, announcing the release date and more final details about the game and all that, and then release it, and then build up the hype from that game at E3 2015 to show how popular the game is, and if it wasn't, then obviously don't talk about it. Number 2 is financial stance of the company worldwide. So Nintendo are starting to get back into the profits financially, and that will obviously continue to climb once Super Smash Bros. For Wii U is out. But the main reason behind this is probably due to the lack of advertising and marketing for the Wii U in terms of why they haven't been getting much profit lately. And the 3DS is only now just getting a refresh, but it hasn't really got any new games for it yet, so it's slightly less enticing to get a new 3DS console and all that, because what games are going to come out for it that are exclusive, so nobody knows. I'm hoping that Super Smash Bros. For Wii U will have sold quite a lot more consoles, and Nintendo is saying it could basically double their install base. And as a matter of fact, it's probably true, because I got my Wii U at launch, and since then I've found out there's another 4 people I know from high school and uni and work and all that have also got a Wii U now and all that, but most of them have got it mostly to play games and all that before Super Smash Bros. For Wii U comes out and all that, which fair enough. So it's obviously a massive impact what a single game can do for a company, but I'm sure if they bring out more games for it to help entice people to upgrade from the original Wii to the Wii U and all of that, and maybe they might need to do a price card or something like that. I'm not sure how much it costs and all that to make it compared to what they're selling it for and all that, but hopefully they'll be able to figure out a way to get a more financial benefit out of it throughout the whole financial year. And number 1 is probably the most interesting, I'm thinking, personally, mainly because it's the area I'm mostly looking at Nintendo at the moment, is Nintendo's hardware future. So Nintendo seems to be in a tricky situation currently with their hardware. They're releasing Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Splatoon, Zelda Wii U, and eventually a new Star Fox game for the Wii U, all in an anticipation that it will help to sell more units. So I'd imagine for the Wii U, they're just going to ride out this generation because it hasn't been much of a success currently, and put more research and development time into the next console and then market that substantially more. But what seems even more confusing is what they're doing with the 3DS lineup. So, to give you a little bit of context, I currently do not own a 3DS console. I own the original DS in silver when that very first came out, but I've never owned a DS Lite, a DSi, a DS XL, a 3DS, a 3DS XL. But I'm considering the new 3DS and all that, but I'm still having mixed thoughts as to whether or not it's worth it in terms of how many games are available for it and the fact that they're cheaper now versus when's the next hardware going to come out. So the new 3DS is going to be like getting a Game Boy Color, which is a step up from the original Game Boy, which was a black and white screen, but the Game Boy Color's got a coloured screen. So that was most obvious during Pokemon and all that. Because they have released new hardware, people on the internet, including myself, are now wondering when the next true handheld console will be released. And for me, myself, whether or not it is worth investing in a new 3DS to play its back catalogue that I've played absolutely none of. But if it's worthwhile doing that, they need to almost say when the next handheld's going to come out, or announce a lot of games that are exclusive for the new 3DS to give you this impression that the successor to the new 3DS, which will be old by the time the new one's out, had to insert that joke, is basically going to say that, yes, it's got a long life ahead of it and all that, the whole 3DS brand and all that, and then that gives them more time to work on the next true handheld. It might even be a handheld that has a game that's made for the handheld, but is also compatible with the TV. And if they do that, then I'm absolutely sold for it. But at this stage, I'm still unsure as to whether or not to get a new 3DS or not. And if there are a lot of games announced for the 3DS, especially at E3 2015, then I would expect the next true successor to the 3DS, because the new 3DS isn't really a true successor, because it's still with the same type of hardware and all that, just a better model, like the iPad Air to the iPad Air 2, you could say. It's that same sort of transition. I expect the true successor to the original 3DS will be announced at E3 either in 2017, but if there's not really that many games announced for it within the next year, then I'll probably say 2016 they will announce it with a 2017 release. And if it's announced in 2017, a 2018 release. So that's quite a far way away, but it's always good to think ahead as to what's coming next and all that, and whether or not it's worth investing all your time and money and all that into a current catalogue of games that is just as good as what might be coming out later, if not quite as good as what might be coming out later and all that, because obviously there will be technical advantages, because it's quite obvious, 3DS, DS. Well, obviously 3DS is better. Wii U, Wii. Well, the Wii U's obviously better because it plays Wii games. It's quite obvious what that whole path and thinking process and all that is going ahead for. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. The question for you, the audience, is: did Super Smash Bros. For Wii U get you to buy a Wii U console? And another thing I personally want to ask is the new 3DS worth it for someone who has not really played any 3DS games before? So I've played like every track in Mario Kart 7 once, but I have not played any other Nintendo 3DS games at all. So that's how little I've actually used the system itself. But I know quite a bit about it, all that from reading and staying up to date on it. So you can let me know by leaving a comment below, and it's really appreciated if you answer either of these questions. And if you enjoy it, please give it a like, and if you choose to, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at TechGuy1212, and at Google Plus is the same name. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. I will hopefully create more Nintendo videos in the future when I think of relevant topics to do it on. And until next time, I will catch you later.